We finally got one, a real police chief. This chief is so real. He has said, listen, I'm going to protect protesters in this community, which means, well, he may actually go to prison for doing so, but he would do it. Go to it.
As I watch the actions taken by federal law enforcement in California and along the West Coast, I am reminded of why I became a police officer. It is my job to support the rights of our community. Let me be clear. The Seattle Police Department does not engage in immigration enforcement activities. We do not inquire into or collect information about an individual's immigration or citizenship status unless it is directly connected to a state or local criminal investigation. The Seattle Police Department supports everyone's right to peacefully protest.
Anyone in Seattle, from anyone who comes to this city with the intention to hurt them or inhibit their First Amendment rights. And what that means is, at some point, I will probably go to jail and be in prison, because we have an administration that has threatened to jail politicians, and indeed has done so in Milwaukee, if you remember that, and has threatened to jail a governor. I'm just a simple public servant. That's all I am. That's all I am. I'm just a simple public servant, but I'm going to do the right thing for the people in Seattle.
Put him up full mass. No, sir. You're way more than that. You're way more than a simple public servant. You are a champion of public service, and we thank you. That was the Seattle Police Chief, Mr. Shon Barnes. Chief Barnes rebuked the tactics being used by the Trump administration in regards to immigration raids and how they have treated protesters. But he, along with other leaders, should be alarmed. Trump ordered ICE officials to execute the, quote, largest mass deportation program in history, end quote, in a clear escalation of his aggressive immigration agenda, setting up likely clashes with Democratic-run cities, many of them led by Black mayors, which is exactly what I told you Trump wanted. This is what he wants. In a Truth Social post published Sunday night, Trump, whose controversial policies ignited thousands of protests over the weekend as he held an unprecedented military parade on his birthday, instructed federal officers to, quote, do all in their power to carry out mass deportation agenda, which reportedly includes a plan to arrest 3,000 undocumented individuals a day with a goal of 1 million deportations in a year. Now, remember, for those who voted for Trump because you liked his rhetoric while he was running for president, the rhetoric of him engaging in this mass deportation. Remember, he told you that he was going after the most dangerous. He was going after the criminals, but that's not what he's doing. He's going after quota. And that quota includes rounding up day laborers from Home Depot, rounding up day laborers from other areas that are known to have them. This is his way. Locking up college students so that there's significant publicity. Social media influencers who literally have never spoken a word against the United States. This is what he's doing. Now, why is he doing this? Well, because, see, the quota is more important to him than the promise. He made you a promise, if you're down with this rhetoric, that he was going after the violent criminals. Now, since he's not going after the violent criminals, there's no emphasis on violent criminals. The emphasis is on the individuals who actually are here working. Now, this has created an issue in labor markets, which means Trump will sign an executive action likely to moderate it. But there is no focus. Now he wants to clash with local law enforcement. But wait a minute, I thought Republicans liked local control. and local law enforcement and local people being able to do it their local way. The president said that to achieve his goal, the government would have to, quote, expand efforts in America's, quote, largest cities, specifically naming Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. Trump said, quote, millions upon millions of illegal aliens reside in the nation's big cities, many of which are led by Black mayors. Quote, these radical left Democrats are sick of mind, hate our country, and actually want to destroy our inner cities. They are doing a good job of it, end quote, said Trump. Now, what is Trump doing? It's the same play. It's the same rhetoric. Same rhetoric they used against President Obama. This is why the run-of-the-mill Republican is to blame for this as well. They told you the same thing about President Obama. He wanted to destroy America. He was against you. And somehow, if you continued to support him, the destruction of America was at hand. All of these were lies. But the same lies are now being told against Democratic mayors, against police chiefs who decide to uphold law and constitution, and communities of color. In his Sunday Truth Social post, Trump also justified his targeting of Democratic-run cities by accusing Democrats of using, quote, illegal aliens as a, quote, Democratic power center to, quote, expand their voter base, cheat in elections, and grow the welfare state, robbing good-paying jobs and benefits from hardworking American citizens. All lies, all rhetoric, and all without the benefit of a fact check. Trump is doubling down on what will inevitably be a political and legal battle with the nation's top Black mayors, likely also law enforcement, as already taking place in Los Angeles, where Trump has deployed the National Guard and U.S. Marines. LA Mayor Karen Bass has slammed the executive action as unnecessary and intentionally provoking chaos in the city, which is majority Black and brown. California Governor Newsom filed a lawsuit seeking to have the National Guard removed from the city, and the National Guard should be under control of the governor of California. But for some reason, federal courts did not return command back to the governor as they should. They basically created a stay or an injunction. However, they did not restore things as they were. That's typically the reason the court will get involved and restore things as they were until they can look at the evidence at hand. What they did is they allowed Trump to remain in command, even though it is completely abnormal to the normative process. All right, Jackson, there's a lot here. Obviously, the country is completely upside down. Trump is running amok, and I don't think anyone in MAGA can say any of this is making America great again for them or anybody they know.
No, and one of the issues too that the right-wing propaganda machine has is there's nothing really for them to gripe and complain about that isn't ultimately going to point back to Trump, because, again, as the economy crashes and the world flips on its head, he's in power. You can't blame Biden, you can't blame Kamala. You can say this and that about the Democrats, but when people can't afford nothing, that's just not gonna go anywhere. One of the things that I've been encouraged about is, whether it's brothers like this, or even, people like Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and all the millions of people around the country who showed out for No King's Day, and just, looking at polling numbers and approval and, just kind of paying attention to the daily data. Americans really aren't happy with Donald Trump, even though he won this go round. That doesn't mean he's popular. We know he doesn't have a mandate, and he's never been popular, but the Democratic candidates haven't been overwhelmingly popular either. So right. This is a situation that we're in. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump is really just throwing fits about reality that people don't like him, because people protesting is their, that's their First Amendment right. They're not causing any trouble. And also, look how many people didn't show up to Trump's, fourth grade, 4-year-old military parade that he had.
Right.
So I think there's some good signs that, you know, that we can trust each other going forward.